to this. So we are going to do a balayage technique that I love doing because for me it helps to create incredible dimension. But most importantly, what I'm going to be using is the all brand new Blonde Studio 9 Bonder Inside. So this is what I'm going to be using, and I'll be using it with 20 volume. So the 20 volume oil developer is specially made to go with the Blonde Studio 9 Bonder Inside. It also comes with a 30 volume, but I'm going to be doing it with 20 volume today. And as I said, we're going to take our girl from this to this. All right, gonna get started. I'm here. Feel free to ask any questions, and I will be answering them along the way. All right, so before we officially get started, you guys know what's a must, right? What's a must? Metal detox. Metal detox is a must. So I'm gonna go ahead and section off my pre-colored section, and so that way I am making sure that I am not overlapping, because that's something I don't want to do on curly hair. Also, let me just let you know that you guys see this curl integrity with the 20 volume with the Blonde Studio 9 Bonder Inside oil developer. No curl loss. She's got all her gorgeous curl integrity there. All right, so we want to go ahead and clip that away, and then we'll jump right in to the other side. All right. So the most important things for me when working with curly hair, and particularly doing a balayage technique, is making sure that I keep dimension. The one thing that I think frustrates me the most when I see all this gorgeous curls on social media is the lack of dimension. So, it's fun to get as blonde as possible, but while doing so, you want to make sure that you keep the richness and the depth. Because if you've got natural toned hair that is curly or wavy, when it's all one level, it really just blends in together. So dimension is key. If you've got everything that's all blonde, it just, once again, blends in together, whether it's dark or light. So whether it's dark or whether it's light, you have to have some dimension in there to help those curls pop and live individually. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and section the hair out of the way. You see that how I sectioned it, I didn't section it very tight. I didn't wind up the hair so it's super tight at the root. I wanna make sure that I am not, once again, leaving and messing up her curl integrity, because I want to make sure that I am coloring her hair how it lays. All right, so I've already got my Blonde Studio 9 Bonder Inside mixed up, and for open air application, the mixing ratio is 1:1. If you are applying it to, if you're going to use a foil, an easy mash or a sweet mash, it's 1 to 1.5. And if you are applying it to the scalp, which you can apply Blonde Studio 9 Bonder Inside to the scalp, but it is recommended 20 volume only. You don't want to put 30 volume on the scalp, even though it's an oil developer, 20 volume only. Okay, what I'm using is the L'Oreal Quick Mesh. So they're like a light paper, and I'm really just doing it to hold the hair in place. I'm not really using it to encapsulate the hair. And I'll be using my board to hold my quick mesh, and we'll get started. All right, so our technique is diagonal back. Bend her down if you guys can see me there. All right, rather see the Manny and not me. All right, so we're doing diagonal back partings. All right. And as I mentioned, technically we're doing open air. So with my wide tooth comb from the center, I'm just going to do a gentle push, gentle push, gentle push. Okay, let me turn her a little bit more so you guys can see. So I did a gentle push there using my mesh and my board. I want to make sure that I am getting super firm on my tension. Okay, I want super firm on my tension. And with my brush, I push firm in the mid. So mid length all the way to the ends, I'm pressing nice and firm. As I move up, I'm going to gently feather in a V. Now, I know when you typically feather, you feather going up. But what I want to remind you is that while working on waves, curls, and coils, we're talking about hair that might be highly sensitized without even having any mechanical damage. We're also talking about hair that has primarily open cuticles. So if it has open cuticles, what you don't want to do is, all right, so we're literally just tapping it here at the top. I'm not pressing it all the way through because I technically still want open air here, okay? I want open air here. I am just tapping it at the top to protect the hair that falls down below it. So what I was saying about the feathering is that I want to make sure that my feathering is still going in a downward motion, not in an upward motion, because I don't want to disturb any of the cuticles. So I am taking a panel that is half the width of my first slice, and I am pulling that out to the side. This is the beginning of our dimension, okay? So I'm pulling that out to the side. If I feel I need to clip it away, then that's what I'm going to do, because we're going to come back and we're going to work on that later. All right, so I'm moving into my second panel here. All right, second panel. Got my parting, still doing my diagonal back. Making sure you guys can see me there, and if you can't see me, just holler and let me know. Now that we've got this, from the center, I'm just going to do one gentle push and a second gentle push. All right, the reason why I'm doing 2 pushes versus 1, and on my first one I did 3 pushes, is because it's all based on the density. That first panel was quite fine based on the density, which we all know is the amount of hairs per square inch. So it was quite fine in that area. So I did a few pushes to make sure that I had enough hair to preserve the depth. All right, so now that I've got my mid and ends covered, I am just gently feathering it. And then, as I mentioned again, we want to make sure that we are feathering down and not up, and then just softening that line right in the center, but pressing nice and firm. Hair is super thick, her hair is super coarse, and I want to make sure that I am covering it all. Dropping that, and once again, just tapping the mesh on the top. Well, that's 2. I want to open these up a bit. Make sure I only have 1. There we go. All right. So just want to tap it here and leave this open. All right. So this is the pattern that I'm going to keep going all the way up, continuing my diagonal back. And let me share some info with you about the Blonde Studio 9 Bonder Inside, which, by the way, everybody, if you haven't checked out Salon Centric today, make sure you go, because L'Oreal Professionnel is on sale. So there's 20% off all of L'Oreal Professionnel brand wide at Salon Centric today. So the sale started yesterday, and the sale ends today at the end of the workday. So make sure that you head on over to Salon Centric today. If you haven't tried the Blonde Studio 9 Bonder Inside, you definitely want to make sure that you give it a wonderful try to get those curls, waves, and coils popping. 9 levels of lift, super quick, super easy, and most importantly, without curl loss, because, you know, guys, that's a huge thing for me. All right, so I did 1.5 pushes there. Got my board, I've got my quick mesh. So Blonde Studio 9, if you do want to encapsulate your work or your highlighting, it is recommended to use a sweet mesh or easy mesh, or the quick mesh that I'm using today. It is not recommended to use on traditional foils. If you find that foils are all you have and that's what you need to use, then there is a specific type of foil in the owner's manual that is recommended to use, and it's basically specific types of alloy. All right, because it is a powerful lightener, you want to make sure, once again, that you are working with the hair in the most gentle way possible. All right, And let me make sure that I've got, tap on my other side there. So that was my bad, guys. I didn't hold it as firm as I should, that I needed to. And as a result, my curls started to buckle on me, but that's okay. That's okay. It's live education. Things like this happen. You recover and you keep going. All right, I want to make sure that I get those ends a bit more. All right, so I don't have an opportunity at this moment to take a look at the screen to see if there's any questions, but as soon as I get through my next two panels, I will take a look to see if there are any questions. And for those of you who are just joining, I am Tippy Shorter Rank. I am L'Oreal Professional Color Artist as well as Global Artistic Director with Mizani, and I am showing you some blonding techniques on curls using Blonde Studio 9 Bonder Inside, which is our newest lightener. It is the most incredible newest technology. So the Blonde Studio 9 Bonder Inside, you do not need to add an additional additive. You don't need to add an additional bonder. It's already got it inside, so you are totally covered there. Additionally, it protects the hair bond, so it has a combination of glycic and citric acid, which reduces the stress on the strong bonds and protects the weak bonds. All right, gentle push there. All right, so one was all I needed there. All right, dipping down a bit. All right, hey everybody. Oh, I see more people are watching. Thank you. Thank you for joining me today. Let me know if you've got any questions, because I am just moseying along on this lightening process. I am using the L'Oreal Quick Mesh, which is essentially like a light film paper. So for my technique in the mid strand, I want to push super firm with my lightener and then cover basically mid to ends, cover mid to ends fully. And then I'm going to go back up and do a gentle feathering in a V shape, getting close to the root and then softening my line by then just doing a feather. And as I mentioned before, when I feather, I want to make sure I'm feathering down and not feathering up like we would do typically on naturally straight hair, because when working with higher formations of texture, you have strands where the cuticles have a higher percentage of being raised. And so as a result, you don't want to exacerbate those raised cuticles by feathering in an upward motion. All right, so I'm just tapping my paper once again, keeping this open because I technically wanted to process in open air. I just want to protect the hair. Now, as you guys see, I'm collecting a ton of hair over here on this side. This is what's going to preserve the depth for my client here. All right, so I do see some questions. All right, tons of questions. All right, I'm gonna try to get to them, but I'm gonna keep working. So I do have a second Mani to show you. So in between Mani 1 and Mani 2, I will scroll through the questions and see where we are. So just in terms of parting, I am taking my depth that I'm preserving. I am taking half of the width of my actual section that I'm coloring. All right. So a couple of key things when coloring curls from my perspective, because I know there's a lot of amazing education out there and everyone is sharing really great tips. I'm going to share Tippy's tips with you. So these tips are for me when I color curls. I do not like to go over 20 volume. If I am encapsulating the hair, meaning if I'm using a foil or anything that provides additional heat, then I will use 10 volume. Would I ever use 20 volume and encapsulate it? Yes. That is if the hair is in the most optimal, healthy, virgin, smooth cuticle, thick, coarse strands. that would be the scenario in which I would use 20 volume and put it in foil. Other than that, I use the paper or I use the Easy Mesh, the actual mesh. Is there a time I would ever use 30 volume? Yes. If the client has a short cropped cut and, you know, we're not keeping super long strands and the hair is going to get cut off anyway, would I use 30 volume? Or if the client has, let's see, maybe we're only doing a few pieces of highlighting around the face and time is of the essence. And so that might be the scenario in which I would also use a 30 volume, but again, I would not encapsulate that. I would do open air only. I would never, and when I say never, if you ever see me doing a 30 volume with a foil, you stop me and say, hey Tippy, you said you would never do that. All right, guys, my nails just poked through my glove. So if you see a peach nail poking out, no biggie. All right, keeping that open. All right, moving on. We've got this last piece here that I'm going to, actually no, not last, quite a few actually. We're going to pull this out, secure this away. I think I have a few more pieces here. So then I'm going to move to the front and I'm going to show you what we're going to do on that back side. All right, so this, let me tilt her down so you all can see where I'm at. So with this wide tooth comb, another comb that I like to use that actually was just introduced to me recently is this comb that has ridges in it. So if you're dealing with large sections and you've got you've got fine hair, but the large sections that you need to grab. But again, wide tooth comb, this is fantastic to do your back combing because you can grab this and just do one gentle back comb with that. I am using smaller sections, so I am just using my traditional wide tooth comb, going in halfway, doing 1.5 pushes to back comb. And so also note that after she has been rinsed, what I like to do is spray a leave-in conditioner in her hair and then detangle before shampooing. So I would spray a leave-in conditioner like the Vitamino 10-in-1 or the Mizani 25 Miracle Milk, something like that. I would spray directly on the wet hair after the hair has been rinsed and detangle prior to shampooing and toning. So, all right. Got a few more pieces left here, and then I'm going to move to the front, and then I'll show you what we're going to do with those pieces that we left out. All right, so just feathering, but in a downward motion. And again, I am using Blonde Studio 9 Bonder Inside, which is the newest lightener from L'Oreal Professionnel. And Salon Centric right now today has 20% off of L'Oreal Professionnel brand wide. So this is the perfect opportunity to check out Blonde Studio 9. It comes with a 20 volume. Or not comes with, because you have to get it separately. But there is a specially made 20 volume and a specially made 30 volume oil-rich developer that you would use with. And if you are lightening the hair, if you're doing a global lightener, you would use 20 or 30 volume. But if you are applying it to, if your goal is to apply it to the scalp, then you would do 20 volume only. And your mixing ratio in that scenario would be 1 to 2. All right, last piece here. Thanks for the hearts, guys. I promise I'll get to your questions. All right, so you see how firm I'm working on this because I don't want my curls to buckle up on me, and making sure I'm pressing super duper firm, super firm, super firm. All right. If the hair were a little wavier, I could use this on the back of my glove instead of on the board. All right. Now I'm doing a light feathering and a downward Every time I say in a downward motion, I don't know why downward dog comes to mind. I don't know, because I don't do a ton of yoga, but that's all I keep thinking of is downward dog. All right. You can also do your plastic covering over this. I just like the neat aspect and the kind of controlled pieces of having the foils, and they're super unique and they're super cool, and clients are like, ooh, what is that? All right, everybody, so I'm going to show you now what I do with this section before I move on. All right, and just a reminder, we saw where she is naturally, and this is where we're taking her, okay? And you see all that depth in there. So that depth that you see in there is from those pieces that are left out, which are basically these pieces here that are left out. And that is what's creating this incredible depth, and then through the ends. So how do we get the ends so beautiful and rich? I'm gonna show you now. Let's clip this back out of the way. All right. So now we've got all of our ends this way, brought over to the side. I'm going to start clipping the ends out of the way and using my wide brush. I'm going to work my way about, and this kind of is your personalizing. This is your artistic point. So you can determine how much depth, how deep in you want to go. So what I did on the other side is I basically chose to start at a third down the strand. So a third down the strand is where I apply lightener, smooth it through the ends, all the way through the ends, and then just do a gentle feather upwards. All right, we got that down, and that is going to be totally open there. And I'm going to pull down my next section. You guys just saw me wipe off my hands. I always, always, always keep a towel close to me. So when I'm doing classes like this, I keep my towel on my stand. When I am in salon, I keep a towel on my apron or on the chair, and just so I can always wipe my hands to make sure that I'm not transferring color where I don't want it. All right, so I'm just going to do a gentle feather upward or downward dog. We're doing downward dog. That's what we're doing. If you guys ever see me, make sure we mention downward dog. All right, go section this into 2 more pieces. Oh, there goes my clip. Don't tell, stay bored. But I've got another. Ha! All right. So third of the way down. Smooth it through the ends. And then just do a nice little downward dog on both sides. All right. And I've got my last piece. All right. So this is how I incorporate those ends to make sure that I've got not only the depth on the interior of the hair, but I also have the depth on the exterior. So I am doing this panel now in the back. Traditionally, I would do the whole back and then do the back, because what ends up happening is it processes a little slower. So I end up getting my ends to be about a level level deeper or a level darker than what I'm lightening. And then that, once I rinse and shampoo, allows me to have lots of highs and lows with my tone. All right, so moving to the front, everybody, and I'm going to try to work through this quickly and then take some questions. All right, and then I promise I will have my gal on my stories, and I'm not going to say today. I'm not going to promise today, but she will make an appearance on my stories tomorrow. So make sure you follow me if you're not already following me on Instagram and on Facebook. But Tippy Shorter is my Instagram and my Facebook handle, so you can follow me in either place. All right, let's get those separated. I think because my My glove isn't as, all right, I have to change my gloves, guys. Now my fingernails have officially poked through. I think this is a new look. If you guys see Gaga, if you guys see Lady Gaga walking around with her fingertips poked through her gloves, she may have gotten that from me. Just saying. All right, let's get some new gloves. I think this might be saying, file my nails down a bit. Not so sharp. Okay. Cool. So I already did my back comb here. And I like to start from mid and just do one nice gentle push. But if the hair is fine, or if the section isn't really thick and dense, then I will do 1.5 into 2. And as you saw me when I very first started, I actually did 3 pushes because the hair was just so fine and the section itself was just so fine that my 2 pushes just didn't provide enough depth there. All right, through the ends. And then we're gonna come up and do a little downward dog. Okay, I'm sticking with it, guys. Downward dog. Downward. But I feel like I could find something cuter in name and something a bit more applicable to color. So I'm taking suggestions. If you guys think of something, DM me. All right. Speaking of DMing me, if anyone finds themselves in Atlanta, May 22nd and May 23rd, SalonCentric is an incredible sponsor for my event, which is called Textured Hair Elevated. So SalonCentric is putting forth 2 incredible artists, John Mosley, who just won NAHA Educator of the Year, and Kia Neal, who has incredible hair color platforms. And amongst other L'Oreal PPD brands, L'Oreal Professional obviously has 2 incredible artists that are going to be presenting. Not me, because I would say me, but it's not me. We've got Derek Monroe and we've got Jeffrey Britt, and they're going to be coloring and styling and using L'Oreal Professional's new product line. New products that are coming down the pike for curls, waves, and coils. So that's super exciting too. So for the fact that you guys are here with me today and chose to hang out with me today, I would love to offer you an exclusive discounted ticket to the summit in Atlanta, May 22nd, May 23rd. And if you go to my Instagram page, you'll see the link to register. And when you register, all you have to do is type in THE50. So THE50, which is V50, and it'll give you 50% off of a virtual or in-person ticket. But hopefully it's in person because we want to see you there, guys. It's 2 days of incredible education, all surrounding waves, curls, and coils, styling, coloring, barbering, editorial, you name it. It's going to be incredible and fantastic. So if you all are watching and you want to see, use the code THE50. All right, so doing my downward dog here, and I'm sticking with it until someone shares something better. All right, and just tapping that to secure it. I've already started my little depth on this side, and we're continuing to go diagonal back. Now I realize from the angle I'm standing, she isn't as diagonal back as I would like. And that's because I would probably be standing where my phone is, and then in that instance, my back would be in your way and you wouldn't be able to see anything. So it's fine. One side might be a little more vivid than the other side as it relates to the depth there, but that's fine. All right, so I'm taking out, because I am at the Widow's Peak area where the recession, I'm not the Widow's Peak, but where the recession is. I took a larger panel because I wanted to pull a smaller section out. I wanted to ensure that the panels around the front are panels that get color. Okay, let me tilt her down. All right. So I'm actually going to section this into 2. My mesh isn't that large. If I had a face shield on her, I could just do this without using the board and the mesh, because again, my goal here is to do a little open air. and with the Blonde Studio 9 bonder inside, because I will get an incredible 9 levels of lift. So my model here, my Manny here, started, her natural level looks like it's about a 2. I got her up to a 9. I toned her. I did a root shadow with 7. Oh goodness, it's in my face, guys. I used 7 BG for her root shadow, and then I used 9 BG mids and ends. And that's what I used to get that gorgeous color on the other side. You missed my Instagram. Hold on. What's my Instagram too? Okay, Instagram is Tippy Shorter. So my name that's in the title, TIPPISHORTER. Yes, my last name is Shorter. Yes, I get the jokes. I probably am shorter than everyone watching. It's okay. I've heard it all. But you will, if you go to my Instagram and click my link tree, you'll see the opportunity to register for the summit. And SalonCentric and L'Oreal Professional are title sponsors at the summit. So we're super honored to have them there. We've got all the brands, all your faves, all the fave brands presenting with their incredible artists presenting color techniques, cutting techniques, and styling techniques and barbering techniques for waves, curls, and coils, with a focus on the discipline of understanding and learning texture. It is a 2-day event with an incredible VIP soiree that you don't want to miss. So you guys can type in the code THE50 to get your 50% discount. Thank you. You can get your 50% discount for hanging out with me here today by using THE50. All right, everybody, so I am almost done here, and I'm going to continue on this panel, but before I wrap up, because essentially this is the method that I'm going to go all the way through this last, which I am going to show you, but I'm going to push her to the side for 2 seconds because I want to show you the results on another formation and a different length. So I want to bring this girl out here so we can see where we are here. But then, I need more tables in my studio. So we could see the same technique on a tighter formation with a shorter length, but what you can see most importantly are those gorgeous panels of depth, right? So it's just not one big blonde blob, and that's what bothers me as a colorist, is when I see all this gorgeous curls and waves and coils on social, but then it's just one big super light blob. So I want to make sure that you are definitely introducing the depth there. So look at all that gorgeous depth that you see. Is this technique done on yours? No. My husband colors my hair because he started doing it during COVID, so I can't even tell you if the technique is, I don't know what I'm doing. Let me get my glasses. I hope you like it. That's the technique that's on my head. All right, so you see all this gorgeous depth that's there. So you saw the parting that I'm doing on my mannequin, which essentially she wears her hair in the middle, because you know my Manny's got a life and that's how she likes to wear her hair. She wears it in the middle. So as a result, I break it into 4 sections. And I do diagonal back partings for all the sections. Right section, left section, making sure I'm pulling out slices all the way through. For the shorter Manny, who wears her hair more 3D, more elevated, more full, the parting is a little different. So you can see she's got a rectangular parting, basically from recession to recession, that goes to the crown. And then on either side, she also has rectangular partings from recession to top of the ear that go directly to the crown. So this section gets a little bit more narrow as it gets to the crown, and it's identical on this side. Once we get to the back, this section actually starts in the crown and works its way all the way down here. So this whole panel is one section. Okay, so it's one big rectangular section here. then we've got a smaller rectangular section here, and then we've got a triangle in the back. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 zones that we have for the shorter hair to create that dimension for my Manny here, who wears her hair in a more elevated 3D style. Okay. All right, everybody. So I think I am over my time, but I'm just going to be here for the next 5 minutes continuing this process. But while I do that, let me see if I can scroll through and see more questions. Let's see. So my mannequin, her natural level, I began with a level 2. I got her to a level 9 using Blonde Studio 9 Bonder inside. I toned her with 9BG and through mids and ends. And I did 7BG as a root shadow. And I'm going to continue on here. So this is my panel that I am pulling out because I'm keeping my panels out over here. And put this out the way. I'm just trying to get through this for everybody before I sign off. All right. So diagonal back sectioning again. My sections are about, I'm going to say they're about a 1/4 inch thick, and then the panels that I'm leaving out in between for depth are half that size. Okay. So obviously the density per section will determine that if it needs to be a little different. Okay, so I'm going to try to work a little faster. Less talking. Less talking. Or work and talk. All right, but I want to make sure that you all can see. Cool. So to recap, everybody, I'm using Blonde Studio 9 Bonder inside, which has glycine and citric acid to reduce the stress on the bonds as well as strengthening the weak bonds. You do not have to add any additional bonders or anything with that because it is all in one. So this is a premium service. So where maybe you were used to potentially, if you used Blonde Studio 9 previously, where maybe you had to add the additive to increase, add your ticket, you don't have to do that here. It is all one service. Nothing additional needs to be added. It is all in the lightener, and then you'll use it with either the 20 volume or 30 volume oil developer. Listen guys, I work on curls, waves, and coils all day long. So oil, that is my love language. Anything you say oil, I'm like, yes, I'm in. Count me in. I'm there. What time do I need to show up? So when I started working with the Blonde Studio 9 oil developer, I was just like, OMG, like it is just so luxurious. It just, first of all, it keeps the hair super soft once it's rinsed out. You know, you all have, we know lighteners where we're trying to go 9 levels and you rinse out the hair and you're like, oh gosh, I'm going to need a really intense conditioner because the hair doesn't feel, you know, as soft. When I say that you rinse this and the hair feels just as soft as you would want it to feel, as if you were just maybe doing a permanent color or even a gloss, that's the result that you get here, which is incredible. If I wanted to add a little natural body heat to it, obviously Manny's don't have body heat, but if I wanted to add a little natural body heat to it, then I would have chosen to use the other type of mesh, which is that kind of absorbing material. So it's not porous, so the product doesn't absorb into the mesh, but the mesh itself is kind of textured in the mesh here. But what I'm using is more like a foil, but not a foil. It's more like a paper. Okay. All right, everybody. Any more questions? I'm going to be wrapping up here in about 4 minutes. I want to thank you all so much again for hanging out with me. Make sure you follow me on Instagram and on Facebook. And if you find yourself in Atlanta and want to hang out with me and all the SalonCentric and L'Oreal Professional artists, make sure you register for the summit and use the code THE50 to get your 50% discount ticket off of your VIP ticket or your virtual ticket. And I know L'Oreal is giving, and SalonCentric have some amazing giveaways. So I don't know, would Blonde Studio 9 Bonder Inside be in it? I don't know. We'll have to see. I don't know. All right. So making sure I have a lot of firm tension, starting against mid all the way through the ends, and then just kind of down, dogging it through. When I get to the top panels, I don't necessarily have to cover them because I don't have to worry about them, any other hair laying on top of it. But just for the sake of, you know, all things pretty, just for the sake of all things being pretty, I want to go ahead and cover that. So I've got probably about 4 more panels left. And yes, everybody, I am going to keep you here with me until then. So if you're good with that, give me some hearts. If you're good with hanging out with me for another 3 minutes, give me some hearts. No hearts, guys? All right, thanks. Thank you. All right, listen, by show of hearts, who's already using Blonde Studio 9 Bonder Inside? Show me some hearts if you're already using it. And if you are using it, yeah, show me some hearts. If you are excited to try it, give me some hearts. Yes. Awesome. If you're going to go to SalonCentric today, online or in person, and utilize that 20% discount today, show me some hearts. Because who else is going to go with you? This gal. All right. I might have to buy me some more quick mesh because these are odd. You know what? Listen, I'm a lifelong learner. You know that you learn something new every day. I just tapped this and guess what, everybody? The top one became loose and I was able to separate it. That was awesome. All right, nice little tip there from my nice little learn from me while teaching. I learn while teaching. Okay, a few more pieces. And so I'll ask now, if you guys felt like you learned a little bit from today, give me some hearts. Did I share anything that you guys find of use that you'll be able to take back to the salon with you? Amazing. That's amazing to hear. So thank you. My family will be happy to know that I am away from them and you guys are getting value. So that's awesome. A few more pieces. And I was using the board yesterday. I did a SalonCentric class yesterday, and I was using the Coup board, which was amazing. It had the little teeth grooves in it, and so I decided not to use that one today because that was actually my first time using that, and I realized it did not allow me to get as close to the root as I want to, and that's the key here, is making sure you get as close to the root as you can, because that's what helps to keep all that visual depth in this technique. All right. So just any traditional standard board would do, or you can do it on the back of your hand. All right, I keep saying last piece. I'm far from last piece. Right. But I only have this much left, everybody, so 2 more pieces to go. Yes, this is second to last piece. We're almost there. But I want to thank you all for hanging out with me. This has been incredible. This has been so much fun. And hopefully SalonCentric will invite me back and we can hang out again, everybody. And I see that we had quite a few different countries join me today, so that is super exciting. All right, make sure I get color just on that tip there. And I am using the L'Oreal Professional brushes. This particular brush is a bit firm and it has the rounded edges, so it allows me to get really close to that root regrowth area. Just patting here, keeping that open. All right, so I've got my last piece to color here, last panel out, last piece to cover. Did a nice little back comb. And then I will, making sure you got super firm tension and you're pressing nice and firm. The material, like I said, acts just like a foil in the sense that it pushes back at you. So as you are creating that firm tension, you don't have to worry about the color spreading necessarily. It almost just kind of pushes right back onto your surface, which is fantastic. All right, and so now I'm going to take these pieces that are left out from my depth once again, and about a third way down is where I'm going to start applying my lightener. And then just doing a little feathering on both sides because you want to make sure you soften, because we're not back combing at all here. And don't forget, my next steps would be after rinsing her, after I removed all the paper and rinse her, I will spray a leave-in conditioner, so either the 10-in-1 from L'Oreal Professional or the Miracle Milk from Mizani as a leave-in, and then I would lightly detangle, and I would use just a traditional flexi detangling brush. Some of my favorite brushes of those currently are the T3 brush or the Flex brush. And then I would go ahead and shampoo. And after I shampoo, I am actually going to towel dry her and get her strands as dry as possible before toning. I'm using Dia Light, and so what I used on the other side was 7BG for the root shadow, and then I used 9BG in 6 volume for mids and ends, and then I did use a wide tooth comb to blend. And then on my other side, I just used, once again, a really great conditioner from Metal Detox. So that was my shampoo, Metal Detox. And then my conditioner was also Metal Detox. And then after that, I just used my leave-in conditioner again to detangle. And then I allowed this girl to dry naturally. So these curls here are not manipulated, they are not enhanced, they're not curled. These are the natural curls just from shampooing and conditioning with Metal Detox, and then using a leave-in conditioner and just scrunching and allowing to air dry because I prepped it last night. And so as you can see with the Blond Studio 9 bonder inside, no curl loss, no curl integrity loss. We don't have any straight pieces here. It's all gorgeous natural curls that are super soft. So I want to thank you all